Take off the blazer, loosen up the tie, step inside the booth. Mr. Monday is alive. You're listening to the Urban Business Roundtable. I'm your host, Curtis R. Monday. Be sure to join in the conversation. You can reach me at 312-374-8130. That's 312-374-8130. We got another great Saturday. The Monday morning takeover on a Saturday, as I call it. The show is called the Urban Business Roundtable. The show is dedicated to the creation and the growth of the urban entrepreneur and small business owner. As I always say, we have three primary goals. Goal number one, we want to redefine the word urban and help the urban community be able to leverage their purchasing power. Again, despite what the media may try to feed us, every story coming out of an urban neighborhood, out of an urban community is not negative. There's a lot of power, i.e. purchasing power in our neighborhood. Some trillions of dollars, or 1.2 trillions of dollars of purchasing power that exists in our respective communities. Two, we want to be a resource for the creation, sustaining, and growth of small businesses and entrepreneurship. This is everything small businesses and entrepreneurship here on the Urban Business Roundtable. And three, provide small business owners and entrepreneurs access to capital and opportunity to grow their business, and we try to bring that information to you each and every single week. You can listen to the Urban Business Roundtable live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. here on the Talk Chicago, and also the condensed recap on Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. and also on Thursday night at 6:05 p.m. On today's show, got two phenomenal guests. I love this guy's name. I asked him what's his name for real. He told me, yeah, check the resume. We got Mr. Prince Noble, a media veteran and marketing director for Prodimax. Good morning to you, Mr. Noble. Prince, how you feel, brother? Bless. And then also, I mean, she does everything. I mean, she the I don't know if you call her the president of Inglewood or what, but activist, and one of our state reps out there representing for Miss Sonya Marie Harper. Good morning to you, State Rep Harper.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. You guys can follow me on social media at Facebook, Curtis R. Monday, Instagram, C Monday, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Our subscription base is continually to grow, and so I'm excited about that. We called our call to action on last week, and I said that if anyone listened to my voice with the Curtis R. Monday Insurance Agency, we have a Quotes for Good program. You call me with your not-for-profit. I have $1,000 I donate. We had one organization call, so we're working with them right now to get them the information that they need, and we're going to donate the money. And so I'm happy about that. We do, in fact, listen to call to actions, right? It just had to be something that resonated with us. And so, again, I'm excited about that. Again, call my office, 708-647-1005. Who do we got on Facebook Live? What's going on, Mr. Walter Gillespie? I see you. And also Monroe Lawler. Good morning to you, sir. Nugget. I always try to give you little nuggets that God has dropped in my spirit this week. This one is a tough one. This is a tough one, guys. Nugget he dropped this week: in all things, give thanks. Now that doesn't sound a lot. That doesn't sound a lot when I say that. But in all, you know how many bad things happen to you, like things that piss you off, things you just don't like. But in all things, give thanks. Like I read a book, and in this book, this gentleman he got robbed. And practicing this commandment by God, of all things, in all things, give thanks. He said that he thanked God that he got robbed, but he wasn't killed in the robbery. He said, well, taking a step further, and, you know, although I got robbed, I'm thankful that I wasn't the one perpetrating the robbery. Things hadn't gotten so bad in my life that I had to actually constitute with doing the robbery. I'm mad that I got robbed, but I'm glad he didn't take all my money. Like, that is such a hard thing to do when somebody, and I have a hard time with that. Like, especially if it's some stuff that I ain't done. Like if it's something that's happened to me, and I'm truly a victim, I haven't done it. It's hard for me. And so, again, that was dropped in my spirit. So even in the disappointments, being able to find something to be thankful about, I think that mindset can be profound in shaping your faith and elevating your faith and also changing your perspective on things. I saw the state rep eyes light up when I said that. You mastered that art, State Rep Harper?
I am. It's an everyday struggle.
Okay.
It's an everyday struggle to give thanks in all things. It reminds me of something that I heard earlier this week when I was listening to a preacher when he was talking about sometimes we need to just change the way we picture things. And I think it kind of speaks to what you were saying as well. It may look like this, but it was based on what you thought your interpretation of was it. And if we can't look at that moment and give thanks, then we can't get the blessing from it and perhaps grow from it. So I definitely thank you for that.
I mean, one of my favorite scriptures is all things work together for the good. Right. And I try to remember that even things you don't like, even things that hurt you, ultimately works for your good. But I got to admit, though, in the midst of some things, it is hard to find that proverbial silver lining in things. And so I want to say good morning to the team that makes up our team here. We got the silent assassin, always seen, rarely ever heard, Big Cousin. We appreciate you, Troy Howard, always videographer. And then also Mighty Titus on the ones and twos. Good morning to you, Mighty Titus.
Good morning. Happy holidays.
All right. And my fault. Sonya Levine.
Where does big come from? What the heck?
Well, I ain't seen you in such a long time, Sonya. So
you
glad.
Stop that.
This,
2 weeks in a row?
2 weeks in a row she been here, Titus? Right. Now,
Hey.
Sonya told me off air, right? I'll tell you guys, look, she told me off air she wasn't feeling well, right? Said her stomach was bothering and stuff like that. And I said, that's what you get from cuffing season. So again, we got this perpetual theory about Sonya. When the weather turns, right? People go mysteriously missing. They get cuffed, right? You don't see them, when the winter months hit, you don't see them ever again until the springtime when they put on the sundresses and go out. But Sonya has gotten cuffed. And I tell you, hey, when you cuffed and booed up, Sonya, ain't no healthy eating boo. Like, he don't say, baby, go give me a smoothie. He don't say, baby, go and give me a smoothie. No, y'all eating rib tips and pizza and fries and babas and steak sandwich. Like, y'all eating good comfort food because you come laying up watching Netflix. So that's what you get. Nah, good. I'm glad your stomach's bothering you because maybe you'll come to work, stop being all booed up and stuff, and good. Good for you. God, right. I find thanks in that.
Okay, already.
Okay, so we said Christmas spirit. Guys, in the Christmas spirit, how you guys, the holiday spirit, State Rep, Prince Noble, you guys in the holiday spirit?
I'm grateful every day. I don't allow, pagan holidays to,
Gotcha.
express me or depress me.
Gotcha. Even flow throughout.
That's it.
What about you, State Rep?
Just trying to keep the focus on family. I'm happy to be home. I do a lot of running around in
Sure.
Springfield a lot and all speaking at conferences. So holidays are my time to just be at home. Concentrate on my baby, my daughter, who doesn't get to see me a lot during the year, and love on my family. So,
Sure.
It's all about family.
Holiday, December is always a tough month for me. It started probably the 6th year while I was in business that I hit a wall. I think as an entrepreneur, as a professional, you go so hard throughout the year. And what non-entrepreneurs really don't understand is that it's not a break. You don't get a break as an entrepreneur. Like, I got a saying, the money don't sleep, so I can't rest. Like, it's always going. And so you go so hard. For me, when I hit December, it's like a wall. Like, I almost had a time where I decided to take the whole month of December off. And I think I lasted 2 weeks before I had to get back into it. But it just doesn't stop. So sometimes, I hit that wall. This year, not so much, not so much, but, it's coming. So I'm trying to remain in the Christmas spirit. As we get to December 31st, there are always resolutions. People always come with these big proclamations about what they're going to do. Ms. Noble, any proclamation, any New Year's resolution for yourself?
As an entrepreneur, the key is self-management. Learning how to use my time wiser, not allowing anything or anyone to take my time for granted.
That's a good one.
And just stay focused.
That's
the key.
State Rep Harper, what about you?
What about as far as
any resolutions, anything that you want to take into the new year?
To continue the work I'm doing, to continue to get more organized, better communication, get my constituents more involved in helping me pass laws, and give people a little bit more hope about them being able to play a leading role in the development of their own communities and their own prosperity.
Sure. I have a laundry list of things to do, but one of the things that I'm going to try to do more, I want to become but more of a reader, right? I got an MBA in finance, so I keep doing education is important, but it seems like as I gotten older, I don't like to read as much. It's not that I don't I want to do it, but I fall asleep. like literally, I'll start reading a book and I'll get 6 or 7 pages in, right? And I fall the idea of being well read. I know that's a good idea, but I'm having a hard time with the execution.
What are you doing in that?
Right.
In the bed?
Look, I done tried the bed. I didn't try at the kitchen table.
Right.
I used to have this joke with one of my partners who just travel with me. I had the same book I had been reading for like the last 5 years traveling. Like I get on the airplane and I read, and about 5 minutes into the flight, I'm like this. I'm like, I'm knocked out.
I have the same issue.
See, there you go.
A friend, I don't know if it'll help you, but audiobooks, and maybe you can listen to them while you're doing other things so that you won't fall asleep. So you're listening and you're doing other things at the same time.
See, the audiobooks are worse. I don't listen any. I don't hear any of that. Like, I do well with documentaries, like the visuals and people talk. I retain all that. But I made my mission. One of my goals for 2020 is to become a reader. So I researched, and I got 7 books. 7 books for entrepreneurs to read in 2020. So here we go. Get your pen and paper, right? Number 1, it's called Predictably Irrational: The Hidden Forces That Shape Our Decisions. Number 2, Embrace Your Weird: Face Your Fears and Unleash Creativity. That one sounds good. 3, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a historic book by Dale Carnegie. You know, if you're in business, you probably, and haven't even read that one. I'm gonna get that one. But How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. 4, this might be good for you, State Rep. Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. Definitely when you got to work for people. Anybody in the sales-oriented role, you got to understand. Entrepreneurs, that's why it's the entrepreneur's book. But definitely, Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. Here's one that I'm probably going to read first. The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F-Bomb.
I've heard of that one.
I like that. The Subtle Art of Not Giving F. A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Not really caring. Gotta have thick skin. Number 6, You're a Badass: How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. You're a badass: How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. And finally, number 7, Never Eat Alone and Other Secrets of Success, One Relationship at a Time. Never Eat Alone and Other Secrets of Success, One Relationship at a Time. So that's 7 books. I'm going to try to get through all 7 of these books by next year. I looked at it systematically. I'm going to try to read 10 to 15 pages per day. That's going to be my small just increments, and boom, knock it out. So if you have problems like I do, falling asleep reading a book, pray for them. When we come back, we're going to get some great conversation with our 2 guests, Illinois State Rep Sonya Harper, and also marketing veteran Mr. Prince Noble. You'll listen to the Urban Business Roundtable with Curtis R. Monday. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Urban Business Roundtable. I'm Curtis R. Monday. Call us live in the studio at 312-374-8130. Before you get to our guests, we're going to have a good tip from our people over at Ariel. I want to say good morning. What's up, Qua? What's going on?
Hey, Curtis. As we approach the end of another year, it's time to review our finances and to get ourselves ready for 2020. According to a recent Harris poll, more than a third of investors wished they had put away more money this year. If you feel the same, an easy way to do this is to set up an automatic investment program. In many cases, your payroll department will be able to direct a portion of your paycheck into an investment account of your choice. If for some reason they can't, you can usually set up an automatic deduction from your checking account. I think these automatic plans are great at keeping you disciplined, and you can always change them later if you need to. But I feel like most of us will get a great sense of pride as we slowly add to our retirement savings. And if you happen to already have an automatic investment program in place, now's a good time to consider increasing your monthly contribution. But it doesn't have to be a large amount. Even small increases will add up over time. Also, if you recently changed jobs, consider rolling over your old 401k into an IRA or into your new employer's 401k. This way, you stay in control of your nest egg. Just be sure to move the account carefully using the proper paperwork. You want to avoid taking any unintended withdrawals, which might then trigger taxes. Finally, if you had any life changes in 2019, like getting married or divorced, be sure the beneficiaries on all of your accounts are up to date. This way, you'll have peace of mind knowing that your wishes will be carried out if something were to happen. Take the time to make these adjustments now. They'll help you to start off the new year on the right foot. For more tips, visit ArielInvestments.com. And remember, Slow and steady wins the race.
Thanks, Quad. Thanks for that information. That brings our first guest. Has been a member of the Illinois House of Representatives since 2015. She leads and serves on many committees, including being chairwoman of the Economic Opportunity and Equity Committee. She's an advocate for food access and education and committed to youth leadership development. She resides in Inglewood and is a mother of a 10-year-old daughter. I want to say good morning to Illinois State Rep. Sonya Marie Harper. Good morning to you, Representative Harper.
Good morning.
All right. Our second guest is a Chicago native that's worked in media and business for the last 20 years as a cameraman and producer for Black Enterprise. He has interviewed many prominent business leaders across the U.S. Currently, he's the director of the upcoming documentary, The Curl King, and is the current director of marketing for Prodimax. I'm going to keep screwing up, but I'm going to do my best. Prodimax, an African-American owned organic toothpaste. I want to say also good morning to my second guest, Mr. Prince Noble. Good morning to you.
Blessings, Brother Monday.
All right. Let's start with Prince had it right. We'll do ladies first.
That's right.
Important topic, forefront. So let's just start with you, Representative Harper. Your commitment to the community, to community activism, should be applauded.
Thank you.
Why is that such a passion of yours?
It's community activism, mostly community organizing, is a passion of mine because I live in what was a disorganized community that gave way to a lot of social ills that we see plastered on the TV screen every day. I feel like in order to get anything done, you have to organize an effort to get it done, whether you want to get something done on the ground in the community, whether you're trying to get the attention of your neighbors, an elected official, or whether you're trying to pass policy. Every effort that we need to create change in our community has to be done through an organizing effort. And if we don't have experts at organizing and people who are ready to go in and do action, sometimes whether they get paid or not, we're not going to see the changes that we need in our community. We're not going to get the resources and the development that we need to create a better quality of life, be it economic-wise, be it education-wise, be it health-wise.
Sure. Your constituents are located where?
My constituents are located all over the city, but mainly I run from West Inglewood, Marquette Park area, all the way down to River North. So my main neighborhoods are Inglewood and West Inglewood, where I'm from. Also back of the yards, I have New City. I have a bit of Bridgeport and Canaryville. I also have the South Loop and the Loop.
Okay.
And I also have River North. I am the City Hall's representative. So City Hall is in my district, as well as the Thompson Center.
Wow.
And the Sox Stadium, Kennedy King College. So as you can see, I have a very diverse district. Yeah. But I'm from the South End. I also have to pay attention to my North End as well, but they don't have nearly as many issues as we do on the South End.
Absolutely.
So I do spend a majority of my time and a majority of my own organizing and policy efforts focused towards issues that we have in Inglewood, West Inglewood, and mostly on the South End.
You serve on various committees at the state level. Which committee or which committee speaks to you the most? Which one are you most passionate about?
There are two that I am most passionate about, and I just happen to be chairman of both of those, which I feel is a great honor, especially at this time in history. I am the chairman of Agriculture and Conservation, the first African-American person to hold the post, the first woman to hold the post, and the youngest person ever to hold the post. A lot of people across the state and even in the city of Chicago had crossed eyes when I was appointed chairman of agriculture. But that's because they don't know about my work in urban agriculture in Inglewood. And so that was a big part of the reason why I was even on that committee in the first place, and then was appointed to being chairman. Economic Opportunity and Equity, of course, is another important committee to me. It is a newer committee, so I'm excited about the work we will do as we pay attention to parts of the state that we feel have been left behind economically. And I feel like my community, or my community specifically on the south and the west side of Chicago, definitely fit into that mode. There are many other across the state, East St. Louis, Peoria, even some parts of Rockford, and even in Pembroke Township, where we have large concentrations of black people that need more resources.
Sure. And both of those committees that you're most passionate about is a great segue into what's getting ready to happen in our state come January 1st. You know, if you turn on the TV and you listen to the news, the talk about recreational cannabis going on sale and the opportunity economically for individuals, entrepreneurs to get involved in the industry is getting ready to happen. I know you've been involved in the conversation, the legislation, all the talks. When January 1 hits, just give us from your perspective, how are things going to change for it? Like, what do you see?
Well, on January 1st, cannabis will be legal in the state as it never has before for recreational adult use, meaning that any person over the age of, I believe, 18 can go into a dispensary and be able to legally purchase up to a certain amount of marijuana, 30 grams of cannabis flower, 500 milligrams of a product that has THC in it. And even for those medical patients that currently exist, they will now be able to grow at home. Along with that, and I've been all across the country talking in other states as people want to know what we did and how we did. Right now, we have the gold standard legislation for equity in the state. 10 other states have went legal, but not one of those other states provided any provisions for making sure how people who were harmed by the war on drugs would be led into the market, would be funded and helped in that market. And
led into the market entrepreneurially.
Right. Of course.
Okay.
Our goal, and especially my goal, again, as a person who led the cannabis work group within the Black Caucus, was for the people who have been most harmed by cannabis, the people who have been put in jail or have records for cannabis, we want those people first in line.
Right.
And that is the frame of mind that we worked from when crafting this legislation.
So when you say people have been most harmed by cannabis, are you talking about people who have been incarcerated because of cannabis sales, or are you speaking more to like the areas that are impacted by, there's certain areas in the city that you can probably statistically look at the rest and say, okay, there's a number of people coming geographically from this location who's been impacted or arrested because due to illegal marijuana sales?
I'd say both. Right? Again, I'm sitting at the table. I'm from this community. People in my family are impacted in this. So I'm asking myself the same questions as you put these equity provisions in.
Sure.
Yes. The people who have cannabis convictions, as well as the communities that have suffered from this war on drugs,
can still participate.
Can benefit from legalization. And the way is that there's certain criteria that have to be met in order to be deemed a social equity applicant. That gives you also more points on your application. And so therefore, those who have cannabis convictions, those who are from communities harmed by the war on drugs, receive more points on their application, and therefore are pushed to the top and automatically are more attractive applicants to the agencies. Another thing is that we were very adamant in trying to come up with the criteria for disproportionately impacted areas.
Sure.
Because we wanted to make sure that a bulk of the revenue, and I wanted 50% of the overall revenue that comes from here on out from cannabis should go back into the communities. Yeah. So it isn't quite a whole 50%, but there's 25% that will go back to our communities through a program called R3. I believe it's Restore, Reinvest, and Renew. And what that means is that people and organizations and businesses from those communities, again, these communities have to fit a very fine line of criteria, who have been harmed by the war on drugs, can apply for grants to do whatever it is that they need to repair the community.
As an entrepreneur, the fact that we're going to do recreational marijuana in the state is a game changer. If you ever been to like the state of Nevada, Las Vegas specifically, their dispensary business over like the last couple of years is just blossoming. I mean, if you go to some of them and visit some of them, it's really phenomenal, some of the models that they have. So it's a great economic opportunity. The application process, because it's something I even looked in as an entrepreneur. This application process starts on a point system. I think, is it 300 points is the maximum?
I believe it's 200.
200 points? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that the bulk of the points happens if there's a social equity portion, meaning if, like hypothetically, if I reside in the area that has been impacted a lot by marijuana arrest and the impact of illegal marijuana in my area, that I get points for that. That manifests also into like a discount with the application process, because the application process is it 5,000?
Yes, I'm not sure about all the prices for everything. I have it all on my worksheets and my paperwork.
It's a lengthy process.
It's a lengthy process,
right? It's a lengthy process. And as we looked at it, here's my critique of it. I like the fact that it's an opportunity. I just struggle with the reality of how many minority own minorities, how many African American entrepreneurs could really have a fair shot at it? I mean, the application process itself, and I know you didn't create this, it's $5,000. A lot of individuals, that's a hefty investment for any kind of business. I think that's cut in half if you come from one of these areas that are socially impacted. But when you look at all the different components that it takes to actually create the application based on the point system, a lot of individuals really don't have the background or skill set to be able to offset that. Do you think?
Yes, and not just in this business, but in every business. I think that even in that, when we're talking about creating new cannabis entrepreneurs or activating people who are from communities where there isn't a lot of economic activity, we have the same issues with just trying to create regular businesses in Inglewood. So, of course, those same challenges are going to be present for anybody trying to enter this market as well. Yeah. But we've also provided for that, again, in our legislation, more so than any other state has. And that's through two funds. We created two funds that applicants can apply to that will help them with licensing costs, that would help them with operating costs, that would help to offset that. Again, as a person sitting down and thinking, what will be all the barriers for people to get into this industry, especially those that have been left behind in everything. And we threw everything down on that paper. And so that was one of them. Yeah. How can we help people get licensing, but then not help to fund their startup, right? How can we make sure, exactly.
Yeah, and I applaud you guys' work because it's definitely a step in the right direction. Looking at the process and putting my entrepreneurial cap on, I know that when individuals come to me and they're interested in starting an insurance agency, they create a business plan and then it quickly spirals into the reality that they don't know a lot about the business because they haven't done it, right? And so it's a void in their business plan because in that business plan they just don't have the actual tactical experience to be able to articulate effectively, in the business plan. So what I tell them to do, go talk to other insurance, talk to people like me, go visit other businesses and be able to fill in the gaps. And as I looked at the application for the cannabis license, it's kind of the same thing. It's just so many things you won't know unless you're actually in the business, how to secure the product.
That's right.
Inventory, point of sale transactions,
that's right.
Things
and
of that nature.
And that's why we made it a requirement. So, as you know, the current medical industry will be the people who will be providing for the industry on day one. And so since they are already in business, since they do know how things go,
the dispensaries,
they aren't the end all and the be all
right.
and the who knows everything about it. But part of them being able to get their license, they had to partner with the business and provide those services such as those, right?
Correct. When the first wave of licensing applications are due by January 1st, mm-hmm. right? And then the first wave of licensing would be approved by,
I believe, May.
Will we have statistics to show how many of those licensees are actually minorities?
We should be able to.
Sure.
The data should be there. However, I don't expect to see a big change in the number of minority applicants until we're totally able to put all of the equity provisions into the law.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you understand that we're kind of releasing licenses in wave because there has to be a year to study the market.
To see how
things go. It's called a disparity study, right?
Yeah.
And this disparity study will give us the legal grounds by which we can put in set aside, so to speak, or we can say we need this number of dispensaries or cultivators to be of minorities, right? And so I think that's what people really want to see right now. And then on January, they want to see the number but we can't do that right now. You know why? They tried to do that in another state. And they were sued and all of that was struck down because it's unconstitutional.
Sure.
You cannot set aside a group of licenses for people just because they're black.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so that is what we're doing is we don't want the market though to get crowded out before we know that we will be able to bring in more minority applicants. So we're not letting new cultivators come into the market. What's that going to mean? We're probably not going to be able to meet demand on day one.
Sure.
Do we like that? No. But if you think about it, that is the only way that we can slow this market down from growing too fast before we're able to put those provisions in there that will guarantee more minorities in the market.
For the wave of applicants who come in on who don't make the first cut, do you guys get feedback as to how you turn in a term paper and you mark it up and say, this was wrong, this is bad. Do they get feedback to say,
you know what, to hear From current people who are going through the licensing process, they are getting feedback.
Okay.
They are getting feedback from the department, whether it's the Department of Financial and Professional Regulation or Department of Ag, on maybe what was the one thing you did wrong in your application. Maybe you didn't cross your T or dot your I, or maybe you didn't check a box, because one little thing could make it wrong. So instead of like disqualifying people or saying, well,
they give them feedback. That's important.
They give them good feedback. Yeah. I'm happy to know that, like, I have people who are telling, not the agencies are telling me this, the actual applicants are telling me this. Yeah. That they're getting called back, they're getting feedback, they're able to go back in and make the needed changes to their application.
And that's important.
And that is very important. Yeah, that's very important.
That's a $5,000 reason why it's important. Wow, let's take a couple of calls, and we want to get to my man Prince Noble. Tommy, good morning. You got a question regarding recreational weed. Good morning to you, Tommy.
Curtis R. Mundy. First of all, I could care less about recreational weed, because they've been doing that since the invention of finding that plant. But more importantly than that, I think it's very important to acknowledge people who acknowledge you. And I simply want to say thank you for being Curtis Mundy with the Real Pro Team, with Deidre Wood Stokes, and all you guys for helping my family at a difficult time and moment, when you came out and you said what was necessary to move forward and be debt free. And I just wanted to say it across the airwaves that I did what you said, and man, I have never looked back. And as far as this weed thing goes, first of all, you got to understand a narrative, and the narrative goes something like this. First, medical marijuana was dispensed. The organizations or whatever was necessary for that was already set up. Now we're in a mode where the deal is the people who was most affected should prosper from it, but what you're getting is skip you. So I just want to know, at what point do people recognize and understand skip you? Because we going to go back and forth around and around about all this, and everybody in the neighborhood is still smoking recreational marijuana. Thank you, Doc.
Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate you, Tommy. Tommy always has a very direct and pointed perspective. This is a good topic. We only got an hour, so we can't get into everything. And so, State Rep, I want to continue. I want to have a further. We got to get you back on the show.
I will come back anytime you need me to.
And let's talk.
I would love to.
Because I got
everything. Because what I really want to talk about is how we're so distracted by marijuana that we do not see that the biggest money maker is hemp, and we passed that 2 years ago. And there is no licensing fee to get into hemp. The barriers are much more lowered, and it's easier for us to get into.
Okay, wait, put me on game.
Hemp, marijuana is a $1 million industry. Hemp is a $1 billion industry, and they're both from the cannabis plant. One just doesn't have a lot of THC in it. You can't get high, but you can use it for CBD, for medical purposes. You can use it for food. You can use it for fiber and clothing and paper. You can use it for fuel. You can use it as building materials. And it's a zero waste product, meaning that once you grow it, every part of it becomes its own market. And so I'm going to need for us to pay attention to all of the drops that exist in agriculture or the new green economy. And even what brings me to that is before the cannabis conversation started, we were already growing food and trying to grow food and medicine in Inglewood because we're a food desert, right? And so we're already trying to expand opportunities for growers and farmers and find places and buildings to grow in. So I believe that this is all great timing, but I believe that we, especially as people of color, especially as people in communities that lack economic opportunity and don't produce anything, that we take a look at where we can become the producers, and that we do not get sidetracked by the argument, by what happened to us, by I'm hurt, by, oh, this law ain't right. Continue to organize and make the laws what they need to be, but also don't be so tunnel vision so as to not see all of the opportunities that exist, and don't get hung up again on marijuana when cannabis and hemp is really the big money maker here.
H-E-M-P?
H-E-M-P.
Gotcha. I promise you, we will have State Rep Sonya Marie Harper back to continue this conversation. I want to bring this other brother in. He's a Chicago native, again, has worked in media and business for the last 20 years as a cameraman, producer for Black Enterprise. He's interviewed many prominent business leaders across the U.S. He's currently the director of the upcoming documentary, The Curl King, current director of marketing for Protomax, African-American owned organic toothpaste. My man, Prince Noble. Good morning to you, Prince. How you doing, sir?
Bless his brother Monday. It's awesome.
For our listening audience who may not be familiar with you, tell us a little bit about you and how you became involved in media.
I'm a South Side native, 35th Street, Bronzeville, as they call it. You
Okay.
know, the locals, we call it the low end.
That's right.
Okay? Grew up in the culture down there. Went to school at Kennedy King College. I was blessed to have some great mentorship. Legendary Reggie Miles, Virgil Hentfield, Daryl Denard. That was the man that really helped me take my media career to the next level. And I was able to travel all across the country working with Black Enterprise Magazine, interviewing different entrepreneurs at the young age of 19, 20, and realize this is what I need to be in. I need to be in business, you know.
20 years of media and business, and that's a long career. In your opinion, do you think that the media does a good job of sharing the success stories of African-American entrepreneurs?
There was an old saying back in the 60s, 70s, this revolution will not be televised. Well, that was because we were not in control of media how we are today.
Sure.
You know, so we can pick up, just like we're doing right now, we can pick up a phone, a camera, and broadcast what's going on in our communities. We don't have to wait for popular white media to come interview us and tell us what we're doing right or wrong. We have the power and ability to do that ourselves. And so that's what I've taken on, doing documentaries on many urban legends and successful entrepreneurs. Right now we're doing the Curl King documentary for Mr. Ernest Durham. He went from a barber to a millionaire. Mr. Ernest Durham was from the Argyle Gardens. He's responsible for the leisure curl. You know, remember the Zap the Cap?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so we're doing a documentary right now on his life and times, and how he's, you know, he has a new product out now. It's a miracle. And you can go to his website and see that as well.
What made you get interested in that project? What was about that? Because as a kid, I remember growing up, I can remember seeing all my mom and dad and all their friends one day with afros, and then the next day they had this greasy curl.
Exactly. My mother had it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with Stay Soft, with the instant moisturizer and the activator, and they had the caps and everything and stuff like that. What was the fascination with that?
It was a more personal contact. My mentor, Mr. Harold Davis, he introduced me to Ernest Durham. And when I met Mr. Durham, I'm like, you know, he had just that Godfather appeal. He came to Chicago in a limo, and he began to introduce me to many of his friends, and the story told itself.
Sure.
You know, people were talking. They were so excited and happy to see him. You know, I had to do my research. I said, this is somebody we should know and, you know, do a documentary about.
Absolutely.
You know, and he's the one. He's responsible for a lot of major things in the city behind the scenes. I mean, if you go through his photo book, I mean, he was around before the Facebook and MySpaces, so a lot of our elders don't get the recognition that this generation, but he's been with presidents, entertainers, everybody, you know. You've
had the opportunity to film and interview several prominent business leaders across the United States. Who stands out to you? All the people you've had a chance to come in contact, who stands out to you and why?
That's like saying, what's your favorite meal?
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
But
you got a couple of go-to meals. You know, you got a couple of So who sticks out? And I know it won't be an all exhaustive list, but who stands out to you?
Wow. Between Savior's Day in Memphis with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to Kevin Hart, to Ken Lofton, to Aaron Magruder. You know, I was interviewing a lot of these people before they were who they are now.
Sure.
Budding entrepreneurs. You know, I work with the Miller Brewing Company on their Urban Entrepreneur series with the Flowers Corporation. And so we were actually pulling entrepreneurs that were just starting, and now they're millionaires, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that would be a hard one. You know, I've worked in entertainment as well. I've worked with, Ice Cubes, the Nicki Minaj's, in entertainment. But now I'm just focused strictly on business and, promoting the Prodent Max brand.
So to that point, when we transition to that, I'm a big sports fan, and basketball particularly. I like Jordan, I like Kobe, et cetera. One of the things they had in common, they both had a tremendous work ethic. There was a commonality in respected traits that made them successful. Out of your years of experience and interviewing and being around these prominent, U.S. entrepreneurs, et cetera, what are some common successful traits they all exhibit? What are some things that they all do kind of similar, that help propel them to their level of success?
I believe being passionate, being driven, not waiting for a yes or a no, but going out there, like many of them said, they left their place of familiarity and comfortability to go somewhere else and really, incorporate their business.
Sure.
So sometimes, our place of familiarity is not necessarily our place of success.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, in order to go from good to great, you gotta be uncomfortable.
You gotta separate yourself.
You gotta separate yourself.
That's the key.
Now you're in a new role as marketing director. Talk to us about what you're doing now.
Like I said, I met the founders of this company, Protein Max, about 4 or 5 months ago.
Sure.
And I just wanted to see the product, first of all. I fell in love with the product, number one. It's all natural and it's organic.
It's a toothpaste.
It's a toothpaste.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
ProdentMax.com. And for the most part, a lot of people are not aware of the damaging effects that toothpaste has, mainstream toothpaste has on your body in long term. Fluoride is a agent that many dentists use, and it helps prevent cavities. But there are many other things that fluoride does, and I just have a quick list of them. And these are all verifiable in research. Fluoride, and I know a lot of women don't want to hear this, it accelerates aging. Okay, excessive use of fluoride, and this is what we're talking about. Fluoride also causes issues with the thyroid. Okay, fluoride also increases the risk of cancer. This is our documented surveys and studies. In some countries, fluoride has been even banned, the use of it. Excessive use of fluoride also promotes genetic damage. The white blood cells, which causes autoimmune disease. This is something that we take in our mouth all the time.
Sure.
And if you ever read some of the back of these toothpastes, it say if you swallow it, contact your local contamination. It's poison. So when it was a no-brainer for me to join in with Protein Max, this is an all-natural organic toothpaste, fluoride-free toothpaste, and it's sold exclusively on the internet.
One of the things that's really scary as a consumer is that things that you thought were safe, you find out aren't really safe.
No.
And it's the things that you don't really know about can ultimately hurt you and injure you. It's just so much. And I think that's the parent in me coming out. As I had my first son, I started to pay attention to different things, and it was scary because I'm like, there's so much stuff out here and so much misinformation. Just trying to dissect the truth from the fallacies and things of that nature is a daunting task. But I appreciate you and what you guys are doing. If people want to support the company you represent and learn more about the product, where can they go?
They can go directly to the website. It's Prodent Max. That's PRODENTMAX.com. Prodent Max. And we're looking for dentists right now. We have a case study going on in Chicago with a lot of prominent local dentists. And I've heard back from 10 of them. I tried to call and get a couple of them on the show today. It was short notice. They're working. And they love the product. And we have some bigger things going on with Prodent Max as well that we're going to involve.
Sure.
May include what she's doing as well.
And if someone wants to learn more about your work personally in a documentary, what can they find out information about what you're doing?
P. Noble. Follow me on Facebook, Prince Steadman Noble. Prince Steadman Noble. And just Google me, P. Noble TV, household name. I've had the same number for 22 years, 312-521-FILM, That's it.
That's what I do.
Good business, brother. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you, Prince Noble. Illinois State Rep Harper, for our listening audience who want to reach out to you, learn more about cannabis or she does a lot of stuff. Like, you got to read a bio and see what she's doing bad. Where can they find you?
They can also find me on Facebook, Rep Sonya Harper, or at my office, repsonyaharper@gmail.com is my email.
All right. It's been a great show. Time flies when you're having fun. I tell all the guests on the Urban Business Roundtable, I sincerely appreciate you taking time out to chat with me and the listening audience this Saturday. We always try to make it a point to be intentional about creating partnerships and figuring out where synergies align with each other. So I'll make sure that you have my contact information so I can be a resource to you and figure out how we can further the information and great work you're doing and you're doing, et cetera. Hey, on the ones and twos, I know you guys are getting ready to get out in a little minute. I got a quick break, and then I go to do He Flips, the real estate investment show with E.J. Williams. Great show as always. I got to get ready to get out of here, but I want you guys to reach me. You can reach me in my office at 708-647-1005. That's 708-647-1005 to schedule your insurance and financial review to look at your finances. Be sure to follow me on social media. See Monday at Instagram, Curtis R. Monday on Facebook, and go out to the YouTube channel. You can check this video out with my two guests. It'll be on the YouTube channel next week. I don't do this for my first name. I do this for my last name. Chance Jordan Mundy, Daddy loves you. I'll see you shortly. Say what you want to about me, but I always know I did it my way. God bless.